a dog going in that building. Is that allowed? Yes, guide dogs and service dogs are allowed in restaurants, on planes, in stores, and in so many other places. These working dogs are also legally protected under the Americans with Disabilities Act, or the ADA.
Guide dogs and service dogs are trained specific tasks for an individual and are therefore welcome wherever the public goes.
Emotional support animals, however, are not specifically trained, are not allowed in these spaces, and are not legally protected under the ADA. Service dogs in training can fall into a little bit of a gray area. In some states, they have all of the same rights as a working dog, but in other states, they have restricted access. So can any kind of dog be a service dog?
Any type of dog can be a service dog, and even certain breeds thrive doing different jobs. The main thing is that you want the dog to be well socialized and, of course, trained to do the specific tasks for the individual that they're working with.
The dogs are trained to do all sorts of stuff. Luckily, I don't need things like nightmare interruption or like a panic button. If you live alone, a get help button. But they do train every dog with a rest command, which is a PTSD command technically, that really is just a fantastic command where the dog lays its head in your lap. I don't care who you are or what you're going through, a dog laying its head in your lap makes it just a little bit better.
Legally, there are only 2 questions you can ask somebody to determine if their dog is a service dog.
Is this a service animal? And what tasks or skills has this dog been trained to do? However, a guide dog or service dog team definitely does not have to demonstrate those skills or share what their disability is.
So what about people? Are we allowed to ask questions?
It's definitely okay to ask questions, but you don't want to focus on the person's disability and be mindful that it is well within their rights to determine their comfort levels on what they share or talk about.
Does a working dog have to wear a vest or a harness or anything to indicate that it's a working dog?
That is a pretty common misconception. A service dog or guide dog does not actually have to have any identifying equipment, and the handler does not have to have any ID or certificate either. Typically, what we're looking for is the dog to be in control of the handler and also, of course, to be well-groomed and welcome into a public place.
So if you see a well-behaved dog in public, just think that it's probably there for a reason. So let it be and let it do its job. There's one question you should always ask somebody before petting their dog, and it's especially important if it's a working dog. Hey, can I pet your dog?
He's working right now.
If the dog is on duty, you can expect the answer to be no.
When I say not right now or whatever, they ask why. It doesn't occur to them that part of the dog's attention being on you is just for their protection as much as anything. For instance, if I'm in a wheelchair and my dog is not paying attention and I change directions, I could roll over his foot.
You don't want to be distracted while you're working, and the same goes for them, no matter how cute they are.
Find the seat. Come around. Under. Good girl. You got it.
But that's not the only thing you should keep in mind if you see a guide dog or a service dog in action.
Well, the first thing is you definitely have to ask with any dog, but especially with a service dog. Try to keep the energy level a little bit calm. That way the dog doesn't get too riled up. And then also follow the lead of how the dog and the person is acting. If they're very busy, it might not be a good time to ask in the first place.
Are there any no-nos when it comes to approaching somebody about their dog?
The biggest no-no would definitely be don't interact with the dog before the person. That's kind of rude. And second would definitely have to be if you get told no, please don't lean down and interact with the dog in every way but physical, because the problem isn't the physical touching, it's the distraction.
This means no eye contact, no treats, no drive-by attempts to pet it, and no photos, please. Do you want someone taking pictures of you while you're working? Probably not. It's kind of weird. If you have your pet with you, do not let them try to make friends. Really, the best thing you can do is ignore them. I know it's hard, but we can do it. What's some of the best things that people can do when they see either you or somebody with a working dog in public?
Most of us have a method for getting through doors, from getting up ramps. Usually we've got those things figured out. Treat them like you would anyone else. If you see someone with an armful of bags, grab the door for them. Just make sure that if you do open the door for somebody in a wheelchair, you move out of the way. You don't want your toes rolled over. You'd be surprised. When you have a veteran with a service dog, their goal is to be in public and to be able to enjoy themselves and have whatever they're dealing with mitigated so that they can live a relatively normal life. Come on. Good boy. When my buddy told me he was going to go into the Navy, I decided to have a talk with my wife, and I chose a corpsman. I deployed to Fallujah, Iraq with 2-1 Marines on September 17th, 2004. I ended up losing the leg right there on a bridge in Fallujah, Iraq. I was just running and got hit, and I remember everything. I remember going up in the air. I remember hitting the ground. And I couldn't hear anything. My ears were ringing. But as things sort of started coming back to me, I heard them call me in KIA, and that broke my heart. Not because they gave up on me or anything like that. I fully understand why they might have thought I didn't live through that. Benji changed my life in so many ways. I did not realize how much I was asking my family to do. I felt guilty for it, but I didn't realize how much I was asking until I got a dog that was trained to absolutely adore being a help, whether it was retrieval, walking and mobility. I started walking. I was not taking good care of myself physically, mentally, or spiritually. I started walking and going to the gym again, and all these things happened because I got a dog at the right time.
These dogs are in high demand, and for good reason. They're well-bred and well-trained, and that can be a pet owner's dream. I use the term best friend, very loosely because I think everybody needs a sounding board, somebody to talk to when they're driving down the road and stuff like that. And those dogs are they're perfect for listening. And they don't judge, and he doesn't care about the prosthetic leg unless he hits his head on it. They see you for the person that you are to them, and they love you if you feed them. Feed them and love on them, and they'll love you forever. So you're probably wondering, how can I get one as a pet? Not all of the dogs make it through the process to become a working dog. And for the ones that do, they eventually have to retire.
My other dogs went till they were a little over 10, and that's generally a good time to retire. That's kind of what makes Labs and Goldens so special, is that they love what they do. It's not stressful for them, so they can do it a little bit longer.
Different organizations have different processes when it comes to the dogs that are released or retired. For the Guide Dog Foundation or America's Vet Dogs, the opportunity is first given to their handler.
I will keep every dog, and I will be with every dog at their moment of passing. There's never going to be a time where I can't give that dog an hour or two during the hardest time when they've given me their whole life. Not everybody can do that, and I really don't judge anyone, but for me personally, when Benji passed away, I had the hardest week of my life. His final act of service for me was giving me an opportunity to really deal with all that bad stuff that I dealt with. Dogs are sneaky therapy, and I didn't realize I needed it. I had always been the guy that held everything together, and having a dog gives you an opportunity to sort of open your emotions back up and feel connected to the people around you. Where's your leash? Yes! Man, you're a pro.
If they aren't able to keep the dog, or if it's released before it makes it that far, the opportunity is given to their puppy raiser. And that's how I got my dog. If they're unable to take the dog, the next opportunity goes to the person who financially sponsored it. If they can't, the last stop is adding the dog to the foundation's private adoption list. In other words, it kind of helps to have an in. But some organizations are different. Some of the organizations that train or use working dogs let you sign up to adopt right on their website. And it's not just guide dogs. You can also sign up to adopt dogs that worked with TSA, law enforcement, or even had a career in the military. Adding your name to the list doesn't guarantee you'll get one. These dogs are in pretty high demand. So maybe consider volunteering in the meantime. Getting a puppy fix and helping someone in need? That sounds like a great day.